G'day, I'm Mark from Self Sufficient Me, and I got this question from a long-time supporter. Got it here. I printed it off. Hey Mark, I'm a long-time viewer of your channel. I really enjoy all the content you put out. After watching your videos for the past 2 years, I've finally decided to put in a few Birdie's raised garden beds in my backyard. I've spent the last few days assembling them in the garage. I plan to move them out into the yard soon. I was wondering, before I install them, how durable are they when they are subjected to a weed whacker or string trimmer? We call them a whipper snipper over here in Oz. I don't know where that name comes from, whipper snipper. Anyway, brush cutter. From watching your videos, I know you use this method to cut down the weeds along the bases of your garden beds. Even if you are careful, hitting objects that you do not intend to hit with the weed whacker is inevitable. So I'm wondering, in the many years you've had Birdie's beds, do they scratch up or show any wear from being hit by the weed whacker string trimmer? If they do get scratched, I'm thinking about putting a 12-inch wide barrier of stone dust around the base of the garden beds to create a buffer zone so the weed whacker will not be tempted to come into contact with the base of the garden beds. Has this been an issue for you? Again, love the videos and your positive attitude. I envy your garden and your freeze drying setup. Really cool. All the best, Robert from Delaware in the US. All right, Robert. Yeah, that's a good question, and I've got sort of a long-winded answer for you, and that's why I decided to, instead of reply to the comment written, I thought, bugger it, I'll get out here in the yard and I'll answer it this way. Let me switch the camera around. And, well, these are some of the newest beds. And well, let me say this. Let's go for a walk all the way down to the oldest beds that I've got, which are down the back here. At the moment, I'm not doing any whippersnipping. You can see there's some need for whippersnipping around all these beds, but it is so bloomin' wet that it's no point. I would just get covered in mud, and it's even worse down here where we're walking. But I've had these beds here, have a look at this. It's nice to see a bit of sun. 1, 2, so that's got some asparagus in it. That's got some sweet potato. The sweet potato's enjoying this extra rain. And the last one is bare. It's just resting. But those 3 I got in 2008, so what's that? It's about 14 years. And yes, I whippersnip around them all the time. And you can see where I've whippersnipped in the last session. There's a video on my main channel. So 14 years old, you really can't see much. You can see a few scratches here. A few scratches there, here and there. But you're not going to get, like, they're tough enough that you won't get, the paint won't be, what would you say, it's not going to be sandblasted off or be totally wrecked around the edges of the bed. Having said that, I don't really care too much. These are old, they've got dents in them, the tape's coming off in areas. Eventually, it's plastic, it will wear. I've moved them from over there to here. I rolled them. I've hit them with my lawnmower. I've backed into them with a ride-on. I've used a shovel on the edge and I've bent them out when I've been levering plants. For me, on an acreage, it's not something I care too much if I see a few scratches or get a few dents in it. Here's a dent as I'm looking at it now. Here's a good dent. But if you're in a nice urban setting, suburbia, well, you probably want to take a bit of care whippersnipping around them. If you really don't want to, they are really hardy. Like I said, you can't really see too much damage to them, and I've pretty much mistreated the beds. So they are pretty strong against trimming and string and that type of thing. Not against backing your ride-on lawnmower into them. But if you are really worried about it, yeah, you could put that buffer of crusher dust and that in there so that the weeds won't grow around the base of them. You will still get grass and weeds growing in that stuff though, mind you, unless you keep good care of it. The other thing that just popped into my head is you can get this recycled plastic guard. It's like a tree guard or garden edging. It's about 5mm plastic. It's very hardy. I'll give you a picture of some of it that we've got out the front. And that stuff you can wrap around your garden beds if you want. Dig it in several inches so that it's right up against the garden bed, you know, and locked into place. And then that can be your guard around the base of the garden beds. Probably look okay, and that'd protect the beds if you're really that worried. But over the years, you're going to get a few scratches and dents in them. Actually, these are even newer. That's probably whippersnapper blade or something brushing past it, and that's probably not. That might be something that's been hit, maybe the back of the ride-on or something that's hit that. So if you go right up close, you might see some blemishes. From a distance, you don't. Of course, if they're galvanized, you won't see anything like that. Here's some other ones. Get rid of the grass level, you know. It really, and I smash these. I'm always whippersnipping around them. So you can see there are some few dents. There's some more dents. But as far as, well, here's a great dent. Look at this dent. That's from the ride-on, where I've actually hit it accidentally, or something, or a mower, or the boys riding a bike or something around here. But you know, as far as really sandblasting that paint off, it's quite not really noticeable. So I guess the short answer is they handle weed whacker, whippersnipper, cord, brush cutter cord pretty good. But if you really are worried about getting any scratches whatsoever and keeping them prestige, well, maybe you might want to put a little barrier like that plastic barrier, or yeah, try your rock dust first and see if that works. All right, thanks, cheers.